Okay, this is an article. It was published on March the 18th, so it's quite a while ago, actually, now that I think about it. But I'm just now seeing it, and I think it's important and relevant information. Okay. Many of the alleged gang members deported by Trump didn't have criminal records in the U.S., says ICE. Many of the non-citizens who were deported pursuant to the Aliens Enemies Act on Saturday, so this is quite a while ago, did not have criminal records in the United States. An immigration and customs enforcement official said in a sworn filing overnight. In a sworn declaration, ICE Acting Field Office Director of Enforcement and Removal Operations Robert Cerna argued that the lack of specific information about each individual actually highlights the risk they pose and demonstrate that they are terrorists with regard to whom we lack a complete profile. We're gonna read that over again. In a sworn declaration, ICE Acting Field Office Director of Enforcement and Removal Operations Robert Cerna argued that the lack of specific information about each individual actually highlights the risk they pose. So we don't have any information, so they pose a risk? Wow, this is like tap dancing. And it also demonstrates that they are terrorists with regard to whom we lack a complete profile. So because we don't have any information, they're dangerous, and they're terrorists who we lack a complete profile. How in the world can we assume they're terrorists? Wow. The declaration was included in the Trump administration's recent motion to vacate Judge James Boasberg temporary restraining order. Again, this is old, blocking deportations pursuant the Aliens Enemies. That's basically what the AEA is the Alien Enemies Act. While it is true that many of the Tren de Agua gang members removed under the AEA do not have criminal records in the United States, this is because they only have been in the United States for a short period. So how the hell do we know they're gang members? The lack of criminal records does not indicate that they pose a limited threat. How do we know they're a threat? The admissions that many of the men lacked criminal records and were deported on the assumption that they might be terrorists comes as top Trump administration officials insist the men were violent criminals, with President Trump labeling them monsters. He lied. Just like the Haitian migrants did not eat the dogs and cats in Springfield, Ohio. He lied. He lies all the time. These men are not dangerous criminals. Most of them, anyway, are not dangerous criminals. And even if they commit crimes, that's what we do here in the United States is we have due process. We have hearings so that not only to prevent migrants from being sent off to terrorist prisons in another country to which they do not belong, most of them, it's also to prevent us from being deported to prisons in countries that we do not belong. Due process. It's a constitutional right for everyone, even migrants. Cerna wrote that some of the men have been convicted or arrested for crimes in the U.S., including murder, assault, harassment, and drug offenses, writing that ICE personnel carefully vetted each individual alien to ensure that they were in fact a member of the TDA gang. No, they didn't. They did not carefully vet. They did not carefully vet. To determine whether a non-citizen was a member of TDA, he said, law enforcement allegedly used victim testimony, financial transactions, computer checks, and other investigative techniques. That's the reason we're supposed to have a hearing for each and every one of them instead of just deporting them, right? Wrangling them up, just picking them off the street, gathering them all in Texas. It's like cattle. They're not cattle, they're humans. ICE did not simply rely on social media posts, photographs of alien displaying gang-related hand gestures or tattoos, said Cerna. According to Cerna, a review of ICE databases suggested that numerous individuals removed had been arrested or convicted outside of the United States. At least 5 of the men were subject to Interpol notices for alleged crimes, including rape. Okay, 5 out of 230 something, I think 9? So, okay, but still, including rape, kidnapping, child abduction, corruption, and possession of legal firearms. Cerna also noted that some of these men were arrested or encountered during federal law enforcement raids while they were in the U.S., though the declaration did not note if the men had ever been charged or convicted of any crimes. The identities and the status of the deported men have not been disclosed by the Trump administration, and since then we have a list of these men, making it unknown what portion of over 200 non-citizens had criminal records in the U.S. or abroad. So I think the total number is like 239, and 75% of them now. That time has gone by, and there's been multiple agencies working on trying to kind of pin down, criminal histories, etc. Over 75% of them have no criminal history. Department of Justice lawyers said that the judge's temporary restraining orders are an affront to the president's broad constitutional and statutory authority. They have been non-compliant with the courts. The Justice Department has been. This administration believes they are boss. They are the single branch of government, and none of the other branches matter. He doesn't think he has to listen to anyone but himself. And that's what they're wording here, that he has broad constitutional and statutory authority to protect the United States from dangerous aliens who pose grave threats to the American people. Over 75% of those 239 men that were sent to El Salvador to CICOT have no criminal histories. You have, a 19-year-old with no tattoos. He was picked up from the Bronx. He was here seeking asylum. No criminal history. Lived there with his father. ICE comes in to do a raid to pick up somebody else. He gets caught up in that net. Not because he was hanging out with this guy, not that they were seeking, but because he was standing on the street where they were looking for this man they were searching for. And because he got caught up in that, what is it that Steve Bannon said? So if some innocent gardeners get picked up, what? He's a great pal or something like that, Steve said, basically. He basically said, oh, well. And it would matter to Steve Bannon if it happened to Steve Bannon or somebody he loved. But because these are non-citizen, non-white people, he doesn't care. Oh, well, they're collateral damage. Injustice is something that if we turn the other way and allow it to happen to one of us, each of us is at risk of injustice. Be careful, be very, very careful not to ignore injustice. Judge Boasberg, I guess that, going back to they pose threats to the American people, I guess the baker from Dallas that got arrested, he's quite dangerous. What about the guy who was arrested because of his autism tattoos, because his brother has autism? He's also from the Dallas area. And he taught classes to disabled children at the local community pools. What about the 19-year-old gay hairdresser and makeup artist that got arrested and sent to CICOT? All of them. All of these people I'm talking about, that 19-year-old picked up in the Bronx, picked up and sent to CICOT. Can you imagine being 19 years old and never knowing if you will see your family? What the fuck did they do? What did that 19-year-old do? And when I hear people that are MAGA say, I'm just glad they're off my street. I don't want to, pay welfare for them. My money shouldn't have to go to them. You know how fucking selfish you sound? What a piece of shit you sound like? Even if you want all of the migrants, which whatever, okay? Let's just say, let's get to that headspace that you want all the migrants deported. All of the ones that aren't, naturalized citizens or whatever. Even Trump would like to reverse some of that, which I think is hilarious since Melania is naturalized, isn't she? But let's say I'm willing to get into that headspace. Everybody who is not born in the United States and not even first gen, those anchor babies, they shouldn't be citizens, okay? So let's say anybody who is not a second generation citizen should be deported. None of them should be deported without a hearing. None of them should be sent to a prison without a hearing and judge's orders. None of them. Judge Boasberg on Tuesday ordered that the government file under seal to the court by Wednesday at noon details regarding the two aircraft that the administration did not return to the U.S. following the judge's verbal order last week. So where that is, because I've been keeping up with this, is he is still gathering information with the hopes of holding the administration in contempt. Actually, I looked up that hearing today, that docket, this case, and he has filed several summons. I'm trying to remember. I think that Marco Rubio is one, Kristi Noem is one, and those are the two that I can't remember. A summons because I'm pretty sure he's going to depose them. He's going to hold someone accountable. There's another trial that Judge Zenas is, that's the Armando Kilmore Armando Abrego Garcia case. That's still going on, and she's looking also at contempt. They had a week stay. Basically, both his attorneys and the Department of Justice attorney had entered in some kind of, started the process of entering into some kind of an agreement. So there was a week stay, and that week stay expired, I believe, yesterday, without any kind of an agreement. And so now there's a new timeline. I think it's like May the 14th. Judge Zenas wants all of the evidence in. And she is also looking at holding somebody in contempt. So I just wanted to read this because it's ICE, basically admitting that most of these men don't have any criminal records. And I guess just because they're Venezuelan and their skin is brown and they don't speak great English, if any English, I guess that makes them terrorists. Because how in the world, if we don't have any information, how in the world can we say they're terrorists? Use your noggins. He's fucking lying to you. If you love the Constitution, if you love the law, if you love the protections this country provide us, you have to stand up. Because if they can do it to them, they can do it to us. If they can do it to them, oopsie, administrative error, they can do it to us. And I'm just going to say one more time. Do you really want, Trump is not going to live forever. And he is sure, making sure that his office has a whole lot of power, that the other two branches are, not relevant. Do you really want a Democrat having that much power? Because that's what you're setting up. That's what this administration is setting up. Trump will not. There's a lot, actually, that Trump is doing right now that was not really well thought out. And that's one of them. He's going to collect all this power and, make the other branches insignificant and irrelevant. And he's going to wield all of this power. For what? For a Democrat to take office eventually? And that Democratic president is going to have all of that power. I want you to think about that. And just like he's signing all these executive orders and, throwing the spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, and, how many court cases have come out of all of those executive orders? We're paying for that. You cannot tell me this administration is saving us money. They are not. You cannot tell me those tariffs are going to bring factories back to the U.S. Not in our lifetime. Look, there are people who voted for Trump because they wanted their eggs to be cheaper and their property taxes to be cheaper now. Not 10 years. They didn't vote for him so that we'd be tariffed and fired out of jobs. He lied to you guys. He lied and you believed him. He lies constantly. He loves, what does he call them? Basically, poorly informed voters. Oh, what is it that he calls them? Basically, voters who just believe what he says and don't look into it, don't do their own research, don't look at government websites and data and court documents and talk to people and watch a variety of news sources. Just, he wants you to be, poorly informed. And I know I'm using the wrong words there. It's like ill-informed or poorly informed or low information. That's what he called it, low information voters. He just went, and if you're a low information voter, if you don't look at a variety of sources and just search for the truth, you're just going to believe what he fucking says. And therefore, he's made you not trust the news. Any source of news, even Fox News, he will call fake news if they criticize him. Wake up. He's fucking lying to you. All of you. His approval numbers are down to 40%. I cannot believe 40% of you still believe a fucking word he says. I cannot believe that 40% of you believe he is good for this country. That he's going to do any good. That he has any plan, any well thought out plan. If you think about, let's just think about tariffs and the purpose of tariffs, okay? Just brought in, first of all, the way that he implemented them was reckless. It was chaotic. It did not create, security or stability. It did not cause people to feel confident in making big decisions like, building companies or buying houses, or how in the world could anybody feel confident making big purchases right now or spending right now when we have no idea what the next 6 months are going to be, look like, or the next 2 years? We have no idea because, he creates these broad it's a retribution. He wants to strong arm people to the negotiation table instead of just being a diplomat. He acts like we're a fucking victim, like the whole world is just fucked us up at the ass and taking advantage of us. And we are not victims. We are not victims. The purpose of tariffs cannot be what he promised you during the election. The golden age, right? The golden age starts now. Right now, all of this inflation that Biden caused you, the fact you can't afford your groceries and your gas, and the day that I'm inaugurated, the day that I take office, all of that will be better. Didn't he say that? Day one. The truth is that he had this plan for tariffs and layoffs that have done nothing but caused instability. And remember, he's only supposed to be in office for 4 years. Somebody tell me how the golden age is supposed to happen with tariffs in 4 years. And did he tell you when he was running for office, when he was running for presidency, did he tell you, look, your children, your grandchildren, they're going to have the golden age. But you know what? The rest of your life, it's going to be fucked. You're going to be poor. You're going to be poor. I'm going to fire thousands of you. I'm going to put tariffs 145% on Japan or China, making it incredibly difficult to live anywhere near the quality of life that you are financially now. And if you haven't felt it, if you haven't felt those tariffs or seen that tidal wave coming, it's coming. It's coming. I know that for a fact, not in the job that I do, but somebody that is very close to me that does a technical job that uses a lot of technology and equipment that is made in China. Those projects are being marked up significantly. And eventually what's going to happen is that the people that utilize services like that person I'm talking about, those people are going to, maybe even now, feel like they can't afford it. Or maybe they want to wait until after the tariffs are over to do those projects. It is going to impact people close to you, maybe even you. As far as employment, it's going to impact all of us in our budgets. And what did he say? What did he say? Here's another lie. Who did he say was going to pay those tariffs? Who did he say? China. He said the country that we were importing that were bringing their products here, that we were importing their products, they were going to pay the tariff. Oh no. No. I assure you, if there's tariffs on things coming from, let's just say, China, what's going to happen is either we are going to pay those tariffs, we are going to pay the tariffs, or we're all going to decide that it's not worth it, we can't afford it, and then we're just not going to have it. This whole dream of what it was in the 1950s, what was it, 50s through the 60s, 70s, and maybe even early 80s or whatever, where we were doing all that car manufacturing up in Detroit, and what was it, in Pittsburgh, they were making steel and all of that. That's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. And I'd love to know how, it's not going to create the kind of jobs that we had in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, even if they all moved it back here. Even if we moved it all back here, if they moved it all back here, it is not going to create the kind of jobs that we had back then. And in the meantime, all those people, all of the migrants, the undocumented migrants, or even, it doesn't really matter, they can be documented. We've learned that, right? All of the migrants that they're deporting back to their countries because they're brown. All those jobs that they're leaving vacant, those low-paying jobs. Guess what Project 2025's goal is? How they're going to fill those positions. Anybody want to take a guess? Our children. Project 2025 wants to change child labor laws, so our children can work in those laws or in those jobs. Anyway, this turned out much longer than I wanted it to. Have a great Friday.